Hailey Bieber sells her beauty line for almost $1 billion, and The Karate Kid absolutely flops. You're live with the guy every day at noon Central with all your pop culture news of the day. We'll be right back here at 9:15 with a show that does a little bit more politics with my producer, Nat, who's on the mic today.
Hello.
Okay, let's get right into it. Why don't you read the IEF headline here? And that's the name of her company?
No. So Elf is a company that acquired her company. Her company is called Rhode.
Well, it shows
I know this because I'm a girl, I guess.
It shows how much I know about beauty products.
So cosmetics company Elf acquires Hailey Bieber's Rhode beauty brand for $1 billion.
Okay, and this was huge because I believe the Rhode beauty brand was supposed to go in, had a contract to go into Sephora, and it still does.
Yeah, it's been in Sephora for a while.
Yeah, but when this contract was being negotiated and signed, that's what brought the value way up. So when I was reading into this article, also, do you know what brought her beauty brand international attention?
The lipsticks and the phone case and all the promotion. Yeah.
So lipstick and the phone case. I knew nothing about it. That being said, this is going to be very interesting because Hailey Bieber is now a billionaire. Well, Justin Bieber has almost $200 million in debt or somewhat around there. So if people were thinking Justin Bieber was spiraling because of his money issues, now that his wife is a billionaire, maybe a multi-billionaire with her other companies, it's going to be interesting if he continues a downward spiral. That would indicate to me that somebody may have some blackmail on Justin Bieber, and it was never really about money. They have him on video doing something. He was recruited in at a very young age and probably made to do some very precarious things. He probably had a lot of dirt on a lot of people, and when he got a little bit older, they probably needed dirt on him. This is my speculation of why he's been spiraling. I really don't think it was money issues overall. And I'm going to keep a close eye on him to see if he continues this downward spiral. What do you think about this? I know you made a video last week on these two.
Yes. So what I said is that with the buying of the beauty brand, yes, I mean, it could help Bieber in his financial issues if that's what's going on with him. But at the same time, I mean, it's not like she gets all the money. It's her company.
Yeah, but she owns the company. It's only been 2 years. That company's only been around since 2022. So it came kind of out of nowhere and just exploded.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go into The Karate Kid now. And The Karate Kid has absolutely flopped. I talked a lot about this leading up to this movie. I thought they had done a lot of things right, except the most important thing, which was make a good movie. And audience leaks and Rotten Tomato scores are now out, and it didn't do so well. And this had a huge backlash at the movie theater itself. Let's read the article here.
So box office, Lilo and Stitch rules again, $163 million, but Karate Kid's Legends opens to $21 million.
And these are domestic numbers, I believe. So Lilo and Stitch is still absolutely killing it. I'll have the international box office numbers in a moment for Mission Impossible and Lilo and Stitch, but these are looking like billion-dollar movies potentially. It's definitely Lilo and Stitch. Now, The Karate Kid domestically was expected to do between 25 and 30 million. It reached nowhere near that. It hit the $21 million mark. That being said, I believe it had a production cost of $45 million. That did not include the promotion. It did do a major promotion, so that would indicate to me that the promotion budget was probably double the actual budget. So that would be a total of $90 million between the promotional budget and the actual budget of the movie. I don't think it's going to make anywhere near that when it comes on streaming. I think this is more of a streaming movie, and that's how they should have approached it. Later on, I'm going to be talking about another movie that cost, I believe, around $250 million to make. So even streaming movies, they're investing a lot of money in. I know we talked a lot about this. You may have nothing to say. I know you're working on your thumbnail right now.
Well, with Karate Kid, again, I think the issues were promotion, and then also it seems like it's the storyline. Like they didn't focus too much on the storyline, and then just bringing in Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan.
Well, yeah, they brought in Ralph Macchio, but this was a standalone movie where you didn't need to know anything about Cobra Kai, and I think you really should have paid homage to that audience because that's kind of what's been pushing Karate Kid forward in the alternative media space a lot over the last few years. Okay, let's go into let's go into Lilo and Stitch numbers. And both of these movies are absolutely killing it. And now I understand why Tom Cruise didn't mind taking second place to Lilo and Stitch, because he's still making $354 million in a worldwide box office right now, which is huge. Lilo and Stitch is already at $611 million, and it's only going to continue to grow. I think Lilo and Stitch is destined for $1 billion. And then when it comes on streaming, this is going to be huge for Disney. If this doesn't give Disney a signal of which direction to go, and we do have some other stories about Disney in a little bit, and it looks like they're starting to get the hint. People,
It takes a while.
it takes a while, and they're still scared of left-leaning cancellation, so they don't want to lean completely into the moderates, but this was a huge win for them. It was also a huge win for Mission Impossible. Me and Nat went to go watch both of these movies. As you know, I did not like Mission Impossible as much as I liked Lilo and Stitch. That being said, it was a solid movie. The first hour was really slow going, and I think they could have cut the first hour and just made a 2-hour movie, and people would have really flocked to the movie theaters already more than they already are. Also, Mission Impossible is really doing well at the worldwide box office. Tom Cruise knew this, so the promotion of that movie revolved around a Tom Cruise world tour, which did fairly well at getting the word out there.
And I mean, he knows how to treat his fans. He knows that, like, he's one of the last few remaining actual actors. He does his own stunts. He worries about the production. He makes sure things get going and people understand what film they're making as well.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of those stories were continuations from last week, so I kind of breezed over them fairly quickly. We're going to start getting into some newer articles here, and this is about Ryan Coogler.
So Ryan Coogler says he never considered making a Sinners sequel, wanted to get away from franchise films. I wanted it to be a holistic and finished thing.
And this is from the movie Sinners, and I've talked a lot about this. I haven't had a chance to actually watch it yet. As soon as it's on streaming, I'm going to watch it. I did watch the behind the scenes of this movie, and they did do a lot of interesting things with traditional film and how they used different cameras and then layered the film over each other to make a more wide cinematic experience, which hadn't been done. That's what really upped the budget of this movie to $90 million. I think he could have done almost the same thing for a lot less. This could have been a $40 million budget, but he really innovated with this, and this really shows his commitment to his craft and things like this. He's really made a name for himself on sequels, Marvel movies, and things like this. He wants to get out of that. And this movie has really made a statement. It has succeeded at the theaters. It's going to succeed on streaming. And the big question is, will it become a cult classic like Dusk to Dawn did? A lot of people are comparing this from Dusk Till Dawn. So it's going to be very interesting. I would like to see him get a little bit more out of black cinema. He's starting to really pigeonhole himself into that, where I would like to see him do a movie that has a more diverse range of actors, I would say, and diversity in a different sense than what he's been doing. Because he did Black Panther as well. Then he did, I believe, did he do Wakanda Forever?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I didn't watch that.
And then he did Sinners. But Sinners was really something a lot different. I really like what I see coming out of Sinners.
Similar to that other director that did Get Out. What was his name?
Oh, Jordan Peele. He used to come into my bar that I used to work at. Jordan Peele is okay, but
he pigeonholed himself too into black cinema.
Yeah,
that's what I meant.
And I think what's kind of pigeonholing him a little bit is, what's the one main actor that he keeps working with? It's in almost every single movie he does.
I don't know.
Michael J. No.
Oh, Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, Michael B. Jordan. So him and Michael B. Jordan must be best friends, because every single movie he does, I think they've done 5 movies together or somewhere in that range already.
Yeah, he was in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, I guess, as well, because he's big bad, but.
Well, I went over their filmography, and it was insane how many they did together. So they must have an agreement to continue to do movies together.
But I mean, Tarantino also always uses the same ones, and what's his face? The other guy.
Well, it's
The
also
one that does all these weird, very visually stunning films. What's his name?
it's also very easy when you have a big budget mainstream actor signed onto your movie. It's automatically going to get funding, and I think he knows that. And going forward, I think he'll continue to use him as his main actor in his cinema, especially after the success of Sinners and the fact that they were able to get out of these Marvel series and really do something far more artistic. Okay, let's get into now Nicolas Cage. This was an interesting story, and I started reading into this, and a lot of devious facts came out, actually.
So this is coming from MovieWeb, and it says, actor quits Nicolas Cage's Madden movie over director David O. Russell's alleged use of racial slur.
And I'm actually believing this a lot more than I was when I first read the headline. First, let's get into the movie. The movie is a Madden movie. It's not actually about his life as much as it is the making of the video game. So in a sense, it could be very big because it has a video game franchise attached to it, which is Madden. And it also has a sports franchise attached to it, which is the NFL and the Raiders. And it has two mainstream actors. So it can draw on a lot of independent audiences when this thing does come out. Now, the problem is the director. The director has a massive reputation in Hollywood. And when I was researching the story, I'm just going to go into some of the allegations. Now, again, these are allegations except for the main allegation. That one he's already admitted to, and that's the kind of nail in his coffin. The director has a lot of allegations in his past. Verbal fights with stars like George Clooney on set, physical altercations where he put Christopher Nolan in a headlock because he tried to steal his main actor, Jude Law, for another movie. And the main controversy in his past was an SA assault on his trans niece, which he admitted. And he said there was no problem with it. And charges were never filed. So I'm guessing the niece may have got a payoff. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can we read a little bit about it?
Yeah, why don't we read a little bit about it?
So production of Madden only kicked off 2 weeks ago, but the NFL sports biopic starring Christian Bale and Nicolas Cage chronicling the life and career of John Madden may already be looking to make a substitution in its cast. An unnamed supporting actor has reportedly quit the film over director David O. Russell's alleged use of a racial slur on set and a proposed scene involving full frontal nudity. However, according to TMC, sources close to Amazon Studios have disputed the claims and added some further context to the situation.
Supposedly, the full frontal nudity was with a supporting actor, and it came up on set where he wanted him to do it. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of coming out of nowhere, especially for full frontal nudity with a male actor. This is like, come on now. Good for the actor for actually walking off set and sticking by his morals. The fact that he used an N-word, I at first was tempted not to believe it. It kind of gives credence to credibility to the further allegations of the full frontal nudity scene, and that he was fairly hardline. That being said, he had used the word in the past, supposedly.
But the thing is, 5 members of the cast and crew reportedly spoke to the outlet about the incident, and various people apparently claimed the actor was working with Russell on an impromptu monologue when the director allegedly said the N-word, which prompted him and others that witnessed that exchange to walk off set. However, studio sources claim that the actor's idea to include the racial slur in the scene after a private creative conversation took place, but the word was not uttered when shooting the scene, and it will not be in the final cut.
Yeah.
So it's he said.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Some people get a pass on cancellation and others don't. We all know Papa John from Papa John Pizza.
Oh, yeah.
He used the N-word in the context of it's bad to use that word, but he actually said the word, and his entire pizza chain, which he built from the ground up, was taken from him, which I believe was absolutely wrong. Now, in this case, they didn't actually use the word. It was in background talks, but he is working with a major movie studio, which we're just coming out of the era of woke, so maybe he should have known better. But I mean, this guy probably thinks he can get away with anything. He's literally put Chris Nolan in a headlock over trying to steal his actor Jude Law. He's gone in a top of your lungs shouting match with George Clooney, and he's SA'd his niece and got away with it.
Allegedly.
Not the SA of his niece.
Oh, that's not alleged?
No, he admitted that.
Okay.
So, and he said there's no problem with it. That's how we know he admitted it.
But what was his whole excuse? How did he say there's no problem?
Said there was no charges.
Oh.
There's no problem. So
But I meant like maybe he thought doing it was not a problem.
I think he thinks not doing it was a problem.
So Rafa says hello, happy Monday, Rafa.
Oh, happy Monday, Mr. Rafa. Oh, thanks for watching our English video. I think you were
Yes.
our only comment on that video. So
Yes, we're
that
trying
was
to get
nice.
it to go towards maybe like the correct people so they can, because I don't see anybody talking about that in English. So
Yeah, so maybe, but our English channel is having trouble getting traction because we haven't made many videos. So we need to start making more clips and videos in English. So when we do release a video, it gains traction.
yes.
It took a while for the Spanish channel
Oh yeah.
to really, I think we needed to get to maybe 5,000 followers before each video would be
Good.
pushed by the followers and then pushed to the mainstream audience. So if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so because subscribers have really helped our other channels to succeed. And we're trying to do the same here on the English channel.
Yes.
Okay, let's go into Ubisoft now.
So Ubisoft acknowledges that June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. No mention of Pride so far. This is coming from That Park Place.
Okay. Why don't you read a little bit of the article? I got a secondary commentary about this.
Okay. So it says it's a notable departure from the past few years. Ubisoft has kicked off the month of June by spotlighting Men's Mental Health Awareness Month with no public mention of Pride Month across its major brand accounts, at least as of June 2nd. On Saturday, the official X account for the Rainbow Six Siege, one of Ubisoft's flagship live service titles, posted the following. It's okay to take off the mask. Strength and vulnerability are not mutually exclusive. June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. We'd like to encourage you to reach out to your friends, ask them how they're doing, pick up a game together, look out for one another.
And Ubisoft is uber woke, and it has been one of the major video game studios that has been uber woke over the last few years. For them to make this transition and do a little bit of switching on the camera is perfect. For them to make this transition is really a statement, and they made it a statement by not only not putting the pride flag on their social media accounts and things like that, which we're going to get into in a moment. A lot of companies aren't doing it. It is now June. The last 5 years, the 1st of June, every major corporation's profile would have a rainbow flag in it. They would switch it to rainbow logos of Nike or whatever it was.
Yes.
That being said, Ubisoft not only said we're not going to post the pride flag, which was interesting, but they said this is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, which goes directly against woke ideology, saying
Well, it plays, I mean, the whole mental health thing is
for
still
women,
teetering.
not for men. Men can be forgotten and ignored and pushed to the edge of the earth and then pushed off as far as woke is
No,
concerned.
that's true. But when when women or other people say, "Oh, you should go to therapy," we know what kind of what the therapy does. We saw what happened to Prince Harry and all those other men that say, "Oh, let's go do therapy and deconstruct ourselves."
But it's very interesting how they're putting men to the forefront on the actual month that it's Pride Month. And if other companies start to do this, it's going to be very interesting. And other companies have started to do it, maybe not in the double backhand slap that Ubisoft is doing by saying, oh, it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, but they are drawing back from putting the pride flags on the most front-facing part of their businesses, like their social media and things like that. They still are doing pride things at the park, but they're doing it much more tastefully and much more behind the scenes. If anything is on their website, it's very rare. I know Disney did one thing on their Disney Pride collection for children, which is extremely bad, but it's not put front and center like Disney usually does. So I'm much more accepting of it because they're headed in the right direction. And as long as there continues to be pushback, hopefully next year they can get rid of all this rainbow crap and get rid of Pride Days at the parks themselves. I used to live in California, and a lot of people were surprised when they would go to the park with their kids on Pride Days. There were full-grown men at the park being highly sexual, wearing highly revealing things, and the parents were shocked. They weren't told up front that it was Pride Day, so when they went into the park, they were rather surprised.
Yeah, what Disney has said about those like Pride Days or whatever is that it was like a separate organization that organizes it, but they were the ones allowing it within the parks, which is the same thing
No,
essentially.
it's not, I don't find it acceptable at all, and I don't find it acceptable that the gay community keeps putting their sexuality up front and going into children's spaces. This is crazy. If you want to do it in a nightclub or something like this, that's fine. But when you're in these shared community spaces, nobody wants this overly sexualized, I'm half naked, I'm gay, and I'm proud in everybody's face. They just don't want it. It's not appropriate. Other people don't do it, or they shouldn't do it. So maybe that makes me sound a little bit overly conservative. Maybe I'm just getting old.
Rafa says, but Rafa says, I'm sure this channel will be big soon. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Rafa. We're trying. But since also we published from Mexico in English, I think it's having a bit of trouble, streaming it, like sending us off to whoever needs to see it.
Yeah, we did publish that Pedro Pascal in English, and then we sent out some feelers for some other shows to hopefully get on some English shows like WDW Pro. And who else did you reach out to?
Well, like Film Thread, people that might be interested in that story that I've seen speaking about Pedro Pascal a lot, but I don't see that fact being mentioned anywhere. So
yeah, so
hopefully someone will see it.
Hopefully we can get on these other channels, and the fact that
or not get on them, but at least get them to see the story.
Yeah, well, you're a female in the pop culture space, so that's highly kind of sought after by a lot of these channels. So, which is a good thing.
Maybe let's not reveal all the secret sauce.
Okay, let's go into. Did you have anything more about this Pride? Because it was actually when I was going into that initial story about Ubisoft, the amount of transition all these corporations are doing from Target to Disney to Harley Davidson is just astonishing how quickly it happened. Trump's been in there about 100 days. They didn't start making this transition until about day 6. We're probably about a month and a half into this corporate transition away from woke, and it is working. So hopefully it continues.
Yes, and I mean, we know they already didn't used to do it over in the Middle East when June rolled around, they wouldn't put all those Pride stuff, in China, the Middle East, some other countries, but the US, Canada, Mexico, we all get it.
Yeah, it's looking, the American cultural space market is looking a lot more like Dubai than woke Pride. Okay.
Well, and Disney's trying to cater to the Middle East right now as well.
Okay, let's go into Happy Gilmore 2. And I wasn't too thrilled about this movie when we talked about it the first time. The trailer's now out. I watched it, and I think it's going to be a very solid streaming movie. So when I initially reviewed the movie, I know the part 1 was in the theaters. Now that streaming is the main thing, a movie like this has an appropriate place. I don't think it would have made a ton of money at the theaters, but this is a solid release for streaming, and they did do a good job on the filming, it looks like. So,
yes. So Happy Gilmore 2 gets trailer and Netflix studio. I don't think we've been getting hit with copyrights lately. So, but I mean, go watch it.
And then
I never watched. Did you watch Happy Gilmore?
Yeah, Happy Gilmore was like a solid movie for when it did come out, but to make part 2 of it, it wouldn't make sense for it to go in theaters. It does make sense for streaming. And mainly I want to talk about the Netflix Tadam Awards. This is kind of where Netflix shows all of the stuff for the next year, all their big trailers, all their big movies, what's in production, to kind of drive excitement and rumors for them. So this is one of their big releases. Adam Sandler has a contract with Netflix, so he's been doing quite a few good things with them. Why don't we read a little bit about it?
So the full trailer for Netflix's Happy Gilmore 2 has arrived, and the new film arriving July 25th, so very close, very soon. The former hockey player turned golfer, played by Adam Sandler, returns to the green alongside Julie Bowen as Virginia Bennett, Christopher McDonald as Shooter McGavin, with newcomers Bad Bunny and more. What is Bad Bunny doing there?
Well, he also has
putting him in everything.
He also has professional golfers in there that are turning actors, which is interesting as well. So it's good that he's actually paying homage to people that are in the real golf industry and things like that. It looks funny. It just looks like a solid streaming movie. I'm really glad they made it direct to streaming, I believe. So the fact that it's not going to theaters is a good thing for this movie.
Do you know who Bad Bunny is?
No, I don't know who Bad Bunny is, but I will say this. If it did go to theaters, it would have probably had bad box office, and then that would have turned into a snowball effect of when it went on streaming and people wouldn't have seen it. But the fact that it's going straight to streaming, Netflix really knows how to read the tea leaves as of late. And this was a good business call on their part.
You think, because I don't know if that kind of comedy right now would work anymore for the younger audiences specifically, but we are seeing a return of like craziness at the film theater with Minecraft and with, we'll see it with the toilet movie. What's it called? Skibbity Toilet?
Skibbity doo dot toilet.
Yeah, so we might see a return to, raunchy craziness.
Well, and then if it does, M. Sandler's just keeping himself in the mix with this Netflix contract, releasing a movie every few years, keeping his name out there. He's got Happy Gilmore. He actually owns the entire production company, so he's well positioned for the transition after Hollywood. He just needs to keep working and keep doing solid films. So, and his dramatic act, if you haven't seen any of Adam Sandler's dramatic acting, it is phenomenal. Oh, yeah. He did one where he was a basketball coach for an international basketball player. And then he did another one about where he was a jeweler diamond. And that one was phenomenally written. Precious Gems. It was phenomenally filmed. And he was just absolutely great in there.
And Rafa says, maybe we could try uploading from an AWS cloud instance, so RIP could appear from the US. It's funny because we do know he kind of works around that area from what I remember he said. So maybe, but I have tried uploading from using a VPN and it doesn't
but what he's saying is much more complex than a VPN.
Which I don't understand how to do.
But if it would help,
I'll look it up.
Yeah. And then
Rafa says it could work and he knows about that maybe.
Well, and especially if you can pick the region of the United States as well.
Oh yeah.
That would help, or really, because we would know we kind of know the regions for certain audiences.
Yeah.
Florida, things like that.
Yes.
Texas. Okay, let's go into this is another Netflix story.
That one?
Knives Out 3? Or what's it? Oh no, this is next. Yeah, let's read the headline here.
So this is coming from World of Real. Tony Gilroy confirms $650 million price tag for Andor as Disney tells him streaming is dead.
So supposedly Andor did well. I haven't not watched it yet. The first season was supposed to be very good as well. It actually is right in the vein of movies I like the most, and this is revolutionary movies, things like this, stuff like Braveheart I really like. So the storyline is really about revolution, how to create a revolution, and things like that. That being said, the second season was way over budget, the $650 million. Supposedly they're lowballing that because they don't want the real numbers to get out. That's why a lot of people have been confirming that the $650 million number, not just the director. Also, it didn't get a huge audience for the second season, although it was supposed to be fairly good. Eventually, I'm going to watch both seasons. The main thing I brought this article up was for the second part. Bring the article up again, please. And he tells Disney Disney tells him streaming is dead. Mm-hmm. And this tells me Disney understands they are losing the streaming war. And I think they're starting to wave the white flag. They can't go for much longer. They're spending billions and billions and billions of dollars into their streaming, and nobody wants to watch it.
And I mean, streaming is not dead elsewhere. It's just Netflix, that way for Disney.
And it might be dead right now in as far as the upfront cost. Netflix may be losing money as well, but they can see the long-term vision and they're winning against the other companies. Disney happens to be the loser in the streaming wars, and they don't know how much longer they can keep it up. They've pulled out every trick in their books. When they were competing against YouTube, they were able to repress the YouTube numbers and the press and things like this by only counting YouTube numbers that were watched on a TV instead of a phone, while the Disney numbers were counted on every single streaming device. So Disney's manipulation of the market is astonishing. Also, Disney makes very little money on their streaming because although their normal price may be somewhere around $14.99 or something like that, people only pay $2 a month for Disney because every time there's a quarterly earnings coming up, Disney drops the price of Disney and Hulu to $1.99 because they want to artificially inflate their numbers before the quarterly earnings call for that call specifically. Mm-hmm. So they're putting hundreds of millions of dollars into it. Nobody's signing up. When people do sign up, they sign up for the $199 for the year. And like you have to be able to make a profit in order to continue to make good content.
And then when you also sign their terms and conditions, apparently it says that if you pass away or something happens to you in one of their parks, then you can't sue them, because we saw that happen to that lady who unfortunately passed away from anaphylactic shock within the parks because it wasn't labeled clearly at the restaurant she was eating what the allergens were. And then the family tried to sue Disney, and because they had signed the terms and conditions of the Disney Plus streaming service, they weren't able to. Well, I think they're still fighting it in court.
No, and that wasn't the only case. There is a slew of cases, not just with the Disney, but these terms and conditions you sign on your phone that you just click OK because you can't get the app or whatever it is unless you click OK. Is a way to manipulate the court system. And on Candace Owens' channel, what's the Ian
Carroll.
Ian Carroll is kind of subbing in for Candace Owens lately. And he did a huge article about civil courts and things like this, how you have to pay to go to court. And even if you win, you wind up losing because you have to pay for not only your lawyers, but the judges and everything else. And this is a huge rigged system within the United States, and Disney is one of the big contributors to this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go into... Oh, hold on. I still wanted to talk about this for a minute. As far as the streaming wars goes, who's the big winner right now is YouTube, and YouTube is set up for the future. Content's becoming easier and easier to make for independent creators. Then YouTube has been known to make movies and series like Cobra Kai and other movies. So they can always have different tier systems and make better and better content. And they have content creators. Basically, they have almost a monopoly on content creators right now because they know how to properly manage their site. People like Disney are just in a bad spot. And I think they're going to... I don't know. I would say Disney would eventually sell their streaming services, but they can't because it's so interlinked with their company.
Yes.
A company...
Because they put up all their IP. Like they could make so much money from that IP, putting it elsewhere. And they used to.
Oh, yeah.
But when they decided to go for their own streaming service, I think they messed everything up.
I think they're going to have to, at least for the next 5 or 10 years, restructure their company. They obviously need to rebuild their park now because of Universal just opened up down the street in Florida, and that's taking all their business. They got at least a 5 to 10 year construction project they're going to need, and they're going to need to start immediately to redo Disney World. Their streaming service, rather than continue to lose money every year, just get a 5 to 10 year deal with a Netflix and license out your IP to them. Mm-hmm. So... Okay, let's go now into another Netflix story, which this one is a little bit interesting.
So this is from Cosmic Book News. Netflix sets December 12 release for Wake Up, Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. So this will be the third installment, I believe. Yeah,
this is the third installment. And the reason I put it in here and the reason I said it was interesting is because this is a budget of $210 million. And for this franchise, I don't think it's worth $210 million, but this just shows Netflix can throw money at anything right now, and they are winning the streaming wars. I would like them. This is one of their original IPs, but I just think they can go more script heavy, and they don't need to have these big name actors. They can invest in new talent and things like this.
Well, I think with the first one, because I did watch the first one.
The first one was...
The big names was what kind of made it and what made people go watch it. And then the interactions between them and the jokes and the comedy was what kind of kept people. But then the second one, they relied too heavily on that formula instead of focusing on the story, and it became very convoluted.
Yeah, and now you're at part 3 where you're at a $210 million budget, which is crazy for a streaming movie. Yeah. I don't think this is coming out to theaters. If it does, it's going to do horribly, I would think.
Probably.
Well, let's read about it. Let's see if it is coming to theaters or not. They might.
No.
They may say.
Oh, maybe. No, on Netflix. So Netflix announced the release date and cast for Wake Up, Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery, the third film in Rian Johnson's Whodunit series. Daniel Craig returns as Benoit Blanc, and the film debuts globally on Netflix on December 12th.
And he's really ruined his name, man. He was riding on a high point with 007. His image, people wanted him for brand sponsorships. He was great. People used to say I looked a little bit like him, and I used to take it as a compliment. Now I take it as an insult if it's ever said. He ever since he did his gay love story,
He did. Well, I think there was 2 different ones where he went, full rainbow.
Yeah, and like especially within the culture today, like luckily both those movies crashed and burned, so maybe nobody watched them, so they don't have an idea. I follow his career fairly closely, especially after 007, but he really needs to do some much more masculine movies, and he has the previous track record of doing 007, so they will put him in it. And he's a proven commodity, but he needs to get away from these comedies, needs to get away from these gay romance movies and all this stuff. He needs to get back into action. He's a little bit older. He's going to age out of action movies soon, so he needs to remasculinize.
Find masculinity again.
Find masculinity again before he is too old to really reestablish himself within that genre. Mm-hmm. And then once he ages out, he can go to a more of a distinguished older actor.
Yeah, I mean, he could become, because I mean, he's still kind of handsome, I'll say. So he can't play the old roles because he wouldn't fit in that. I mean, he could play, I guess, like some rich person that has some kind of issue, which is what he's doing in this.
They're still they don't have a crop of young action heroes. They're really casting that last generation. He fits in that because of 007. People still view him as that, so they'll still cast him in it, but he only has a few more years left of that. By the time he's done doing that, he will be old enough to play those older Anthony Hopkins distinguished serial killer roles, things like that.
Serial ender.
Yeah, and he has a very rugged face, so as he gets older and older, he doesn't have all that Botox, those lip fillers and things like that.
I'm sure he's got some.
So he probably will go into very good serial killer roles and things like that, I would say.
Serial ender.
Okay, let's go into the cover story here. And I buried this story because so many pop culture stories were coming up this morning as I was getting the articles.
So Sofia Vergara said dating someone with less money than her would be a nightmare. And then Business Insider apparently asked 3 therapists what they think for some reason.
Okay, and this came up on the weekend, and this was crazy. I think she's worth somewhere in the range of $181 million, if I remember correctly. I read this a few days ago. Who's going to be worth $180 million? She doesn't want to date anybody that has less money than her. And once you have a certain amount of money, let's say you have $10 million, it's really all the same. And if it's not all the same, I wouldn't want to be with somebody that needs me to have hundreds of millions rather than tens of millions, because they're focused on the wrong things that make up somebody's character.
And I mean, with Joe Manganiello, which is her ex, where she fought for the embryos and they had this whole big court fight. I don't know if he was worth more or less than her, but at the time it didn't seem like it mattered. But do you want me to read a little bit about it?
Maybe it's because of her divorce that he took half. Maybe. So now she's scared to date anybody.
She's not worth that much. So during an appearance on the May 14th episode of The Today Show, the Modern Family actress, why do they keep doing that? Reflected on her dating life and got candid about some of the traits she hopes for in her future partner. I guess I'll do the accent because I'm Latina, so I can do it. I want to say the basic stuff like health and somebody that loves me, Vergara told hosts Jenna Bush Hager and Erin Andrews, and somebody tall and handsome. I want somebody that has as much money as me or more, because if not, it's a nightmare. They end up resenting you. I want somebody fun. I need fun in my life.
Oh my God, this girl is delusional. And she used to be hot, and she's been hot for too long where she's delusional now. She's literally crazy. Not to say that she's not hot, but when she has a checklist like that, she's never going to find it, and she's looking for the wrong thing, so she's never going to.
She will probably find it.
She's not going to find happiness with this. That's
because what's his face? Jeff Bezos. I mean, his fiance looks worse than she does.
Jeff Bezos is a short little midget. You know what I seen that?
But he has a lot of money, which is what she wants.
But it also has to be tall. Jeff Bezos is like. So I seen a picture of Jeff Bezos.
Lauren Sanchez.
His wife, who's a lot taller than him, and they were standing next to Leonardo DiCaprio, and his wife was enamored with Leonardo DiCaprio, and he was like a giant compared to these two.
But I think she's enamored more with the money, probably.
I don't know.
But with Sofia Vergara, I would think the opposite. Like we see a lot of these celebrities with like Lana Del Rey, who ended up marrying an alligator tour guide from Florida, and she kind of switched over a little bit to be more MAGA because he's super MAGA.
She's also been very pretty and very in the limelight for decades now. She was the Latino pick-me actress for a long time for TV anyway. So she just doesn't, when you reach fame at an older age, you already have a good base of your values and things like that. I'm not sure. I don't think she reached it at an extremely young age, but she's been in that Hollywood limelight for so long. It's inflated what's important to her.
But at the same time, she began as a single mother that was a model in Colombia, and she struggled for a very long time, which is why I would think maybe now that she's seen Hollywood and now that she's had all this money, she'd want to look back, like look again for that authenticity and what she actually knows, because she started off as a nobody and like very, very poor and in a very dire circumstance with a kid when she was very young and being a model. So you would think that she'd be tired of all the, fakeness.
I have a feeling she was taken to the cleaners maybe in her last divorce, maybe. Because we know how the United States is working now. So
because she's 52.
Yeah. I mean, she's going to age out within the next 8 years, even with surgery. I mean, Cher, she held on to it for a long time. But if you look at Cher, she looked good in photos when she aged out. But when you've seen her moving, nothing would move. It looked really scary.
And these women obsessed with still how they look and not aging gracefully, which is what people should be grateful for, to be able to age even. And I spoke about this when I talked about Pamela Anderson, where she's decided that now she's a grandma. Her proudest achievements are her kids, and all her covers and the way she used to look, that was nice then, but that's not what she wants to focus on now. I think Sofia is doing the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, her net worth was astounding to me. I didn't know she was worth that much, $181 million for an actress. This is huge. She needs to make the transition now rather than make the transition. She's looking for somebody with more money than her. The transition would be...
I think maybe it was the opposite. I think maybe she took some from Joe Manganiello when they divorced.
Okay, the transition here would be take some of that $181 million and build a production company. You already have the connections. You already know how some of it works. You can get the right people around you to help you out for what you don't know. And then you can transition gracefully into your older life and have a career and things like that. I'm guessing she doesn't want to have kids because she already had a kid.
Yeah, she had a kid when she was very young.
What's she going to do in the second half of her life? What does she really want?
Back as a grandma? The hot grandma? I don't know. Well,
okay.
She already did that in Modern Family.
Okay, she is the one they're putting up as the hotter older woman now, though, in a lot of articles that I've been reading.
Which used to be Jane Fonda.
Yeah.
For the longest time.
Okay, let's go to the next. This is Zelda, and did you manage to find an article on this?
Yes.
Okay, let's read it.
So this is coming from CBR. The Legend of Zelda live-action movie reportedly eyes popular pick to play Princess Zelda. And I don't know how popular the pick is, but live adaptation of The Legend of Zelda is currently in development, but as of now, no names have officially been announced as part of the cast. Rumors are swirling, however, and the new report suggests one popular pick with fans, is up for the role of Princess Zelda. According to industry insider Daniel Richtman, Hunter Schafer, who is a trans actor that pretends to be a woman, is being eyed for the role of Zelda in the live-action Legend of Zelda movie. Many fans have already called out Schafer to get the role, in part because of his physical resemblance to the iconic video game princess. What seals the deal for fans with the potential casting is Schafer's acting abilities, as he has drawn praise for his role as transgender high school student Jules Vaughn in the hit HBO drama Euphoria.
Okay, this is set up to be a huge movie.
If
they cast a trans person in this role, this movie will fail without a shadow of a doubt. This is a huge budget movie for Sony. It's supposed to be I believe it's supposed to be a trilogy movie. All video game movies that are staying away from politics are doing extremely well right now. With this one decision, they could absolutely ruin this movie. And you have to think this is 2 years down the road.
I mean, look at the person. That could easily be Anya Taylor-Joy. And she's a woman.
Yeah.
And she's Latina, too.
There's plenty of people to cast in this. You want to pitch this to a moderate audience. You want to stay away from politics in any way, shape, or form.
And to kids.
I think Sony's smart enough to know this. It's also a Japanese company. So Japanese companies are getting the hint extremely early.
Sony?
Sony, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Nintendo.
Oh no. So for tech companies outside of the United States, you have your new Chinese tech companies, but Japan has all the dominant brands. So every single camera company, and I'm big into production, is made within Japan. So you have Nikon, Japanese nationalistic company, Canon, Japanese nationalistic company, Fuji, Japanese nationalistic company, Blackmagic's an Australian company, but for the most part, Nintendo, Sony, all these are Japanese companies. Japan at one point was supposed to surpass the United States, but they had that huge fall off, and now they're having a secondary fall off in their banking market and of their population. But they still have these mega corporations from when they were at the height of the tech industry.
But my question is, Legend of Zelda is Nintendo, but Sony's the one producing the movie?
Oh yeah, there was a big controversy over the rights for the movie, and how they were sold. Okay, let's go into Timcast. Was banned in Canada. Now, I don't think it was a complete ban, but the Canadian laws are really strange right now. They've been able to pass quite a few censorship laws, but they have two major bills coming in Canada probably over the next, I would say, 6 months. Mm-hmm. And if those pass, you're going to see major U.S. content creators completely banned from the space, especially with Canada and the EU starting to prepare for war and things like that. The way they're trying to propagate this war against Russia, they really need to propagate a narrative which people just aren't buying into. In order to destroy that narrative, they're going to have to start censoring freedom of speech.
Yes, and it says people in Canada can't view this content. This was on Instagram, yeah. Content from news publications can't be viewed in Canada in response to Canadian government legislation. And we know that whole fight between Facebook, the Canadian government, censorship,
and
Canadian
Google.
government. Well, yeah, Tim Pool is one of the ones that got swept up. But Canada and the Canadian government didn't want any news links, to be going to any other news source other than Canadian news sources, which is insane.
And I seen there's I know we talk more about politics on the night show, but for a while I was showing it on here, and there's an Asian content creator that does mainly X content, and I show a lot of his Canadian content on here, and he's a conservative, talks about the Canadian government. He was putting forward the idea of, I think it was the Swedish model or one of the Nordic countries, where they have a PM and then they have a president as well. The PM does the internal politics of the country. The president does the external politics. He was saying Pierre Poilievre should be the internal leader of Canada and Mark Carney should be the external leader. I completely disagree with that. Mark Carney is a globalist and he's going to destroy Canada. He needs to be nowhere in politics, and the faster they can get rid of him, the better. So as soon as he starts doing things, I'm expecting the Canadian people to actually start turning against him. Okay, let's go into the last story of the day now. I did turn to a little bit towards politics at the end here, but this does go with pop culture a little bit.
So Ursula von der Leyen, I can never say her name, says free speech is like a virus and censorship is its jibby jab. EU politicians want to silence us. Yes, they do.
As technology evolves, we
Turn
need
it
to
up.
build up societal immunity around
Turn it down.
manipulation. Because research has shown that pre-bunking is much more successful than debunking. Pre-bunking is basically the opposite of debunking. In short, prevention is preferable to cure. Perhaps if you think of information manipulation as a virus, instead of
Pause it for a second.
infection,
Okay, and I've been seeing a lot of this. So when somebody like Ursula von der Leyen, the WEF, or the European Union give speeches, that means they've already started enacting a lot of the stuff. And I've seen I think they're really testing it with climate change and things like this, because I've seen a lot of false things coming out about climate change, how the polar caps are almost done, which we've reported that's completely the opposite. We're actually in a cooling period for the world, and the ice caps are regrowing. I've seen that they're talking about mass extinction of trees. There's actually more trees on the Earth's surface than any time in the last 500 years because we have so much carbon. This helps to grow trees. So they're trying to pre-bunk things and put false information out there rather than to try to fight against the narrative. But this causes them to tell blatant lies that can be easily disproven. So I think this strategy of hers is overall going to backfire, especially with Trump in office trying to protect free speech. As long as there's one major country like the United States protecting free speech, people are going to be able to use VPNs and find real data. And if just a few people in your population are able to find the real truth and the real facts, they're able to disseminate that throughout the whole population. And the truth is a lot stronger than these pre-bunking or this false information they want to put out there.
Yes, so 1984.
Once it has taken hold, that is debunking. It is much better to vaccinate so that the body is inoculated. Debunking is the same approach. Because disinformation relies on people passing it on to others. It is essential that people know what malign information's influence is and what the techniques are that are behind it. And as the knowledge goes up, our chances of being influenced goes down. And that builds up the society resilience that we will need.
Okay, and this is kind of huge because they're trying to test their systems and their propaganda systems for this coming war that the EU wants to propagate against Russia. And they're failing right now just in the climate change war where they're trying to test a lot of these theories out. If they cannot realign the citizenry with the governments, the citizens aren't going to want to go to war for them. And we got a ton of stories tonight about the Russian conflict and about Keir Starmer. And Keir Starmer coming out today saying now the Britain is entering a phase of war readiness, meaning they're going to up the recruiting numbers, things like this. People just aren't buying it. And for the past decade, they've done nothing but hold their populations down, jibby jab them and try to silence them. And now that they need them to send them off to war, they're trying to change their tune. Okay, well, that's it for today. I got a little bit into politics at the end, but for the most part, we do pop culture on the morning show and more politics on the evening show at 9:15 Central with the beautiful Nat over here. Mm-hmm. And she has her own show just before that at 8 p.m. Central, where she does two main stories, I would say.
Yes, in Spanish.
In Spanish, yeah.
In our Spanish channel.
Okay, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow, 12
Bye.
Central.